Welcome everybody, this is How to English Teach and Learn with Gav and Em.
It's a podcast about teaching and learning English as a foreign language.
All opinions stated are personal and references will be given when necessary. Well, fancy meeting you here.
It's about time, Em. I've been waiting for a little while now.
You've been waiting for me?
Yeah, to do episode 5 of Gav and Em's How to English TEFL Pod, the A to Z of TEFLing around.
TEFLing around. A, B, C, D, E. That does make 5, Gav, because we are working our way through the A to Z of the TEFL world.
And as you mentioned, it's E. All of the words that we come up with in this episode will begin with the letter E, Em.
And we should start with the most obvious one, Gav. You know?
English.
No.
Is that too obvious?
Yeah, that is too... I didn't even... You know what? I didn't even write down English. No, I'm thinking, come on, what's the elephant in the room? Wait a sec. No, that's not good.
E for elephant?
Well, I guess that makes me the elephant?
I don't know what's going on, but E for...
M.
M?
M. The M of Gav and Em begins with E.
Right.
Not an elephant.
And are we going to talk about you, Em?
No, let's go back to your idea. E for English, Gav, goes without saying. We don't need to talk about it, do we? We talk about it all the time. Let's do the other E's of TEFL.
How about E for eliciting?
Yes.
That's the first word on my list. Eliciting, encouraging students to produce language rather than simply giving it to them from myself.
Don't hand it to them on a plate. Make them think for themselves. So, do you want to demo some elicitation, Gav?
I am prepared to do a little demo with you, Em, on the topic of elicitation.
Sounds fun.
What I'm going to do, Em, is I'm going to place you and all of my other lovely students into a circle, and I'm going to give you the answer to a few different questions. Now, what I want to know, Em, is what is the question that I'm answering?
Nice. Okay, I'm ready.
And through this...
We haven't finished with the instructions. Sorry. Go on.
And through this, I will discover if you know your English, E for English, tenses.
Oh, okay. There's levels to this. Is there a topic?
There is a topic, of course. And the topic I have chosen is chores.
Like household jobs to do? Not my favourite topic, but I'll go along with you.
It's something we can all talk about, Em. Now, let me start with my first answer. I say, I do the laundry every week.
The question would be, how often do you do the laundry?
I do the laundry every week, Em.
That fits, but I guess you could also say, when do you do the laundry? That's not wrong.
You could.
Good, okay. Good me. Well done me.
There may be more than one answer to these questions, Em.
You mean there may be more than one question to these questions?
And possibly more answers to these questions.
Because you're asking me a question. Got it, whatever it is, yes. There's more than one way to say it.
And answer it.
Yes. Next.
I am washing the dishes right now.
What are you doing right now?
I am washing the dishes right now.
Could you say, are you washing the dishes right now?
I think that's a yes-no question.
Okay. Yeah, I understand.
What are you doing now? What's that in your hand? Why aren't you at football? It's 4 o'clock.
Yeah, all good. I think mine was the best one.
I took out the rubbish yesterday.
These are just coming to me, Gav. They're just dropping into my mind. When did you take out the rubbish?
I took out the rubbish yesterday.
Good. Very good.
What did you do yesterday, Em?
Yes, that's also, but it sounds a bit more like all day, but yeah, okay.
But it happened yesterday. That's really important. And you used a past simple. Should I be telling you which grammar you're using each time? Or should I just smile and say, you used the correct tense then?
Oh, let me try. I remember the first one was a present simple question. How often do you do something? The second one was, what are you doing now? So that's present continuous. And then we just did past simple, right?
You have got it, absolutely.
If you wanted to clarify with students what the tenses were, then you could. But I quite like the flow of this without focusing too much on what it's called and the grammary parts.
You're right. If they do trip up, then we can simply lift them with our educational fingertips.
You mean if they need prompting, you could say, past tense question, don't forget did, that kind of thing. Yeah, but I think if it's working and they're coming up with good questions that are not wrong, I wouldn't really focus on it.
I was vacuuming when you called.
What were you doing when I called?
I was vacuuming when you called.
How did you hear me?
How did you hear me?
Huh?
Well, I was vacuuming, so how did you hear my voice?
Okay, well, I don't know how you heard the phone ringing.
Well, maybe I didn't hear the phone. That was the point, because I was vacuuming when you called.
Oh, I didn't necessarily pick up. That's true.
Past continuous for an action in progress at a specific time in the past.
So the question could also be, why didn't you pick up the phone when I called you? Yes.
I was...
Sorry.
I was vacuuming when you called. Exactly, Em. You've got it.
We've had a whole conversation about that one question, and it's very good for students to understand.
I could talk about that question and answer all day, Em, but we need to keep moving forward. I have already cleaned the kitchen.
What have you done so far on my long list of jobs for you to do?
I have already cleaned the kitchen.
Very good. Before I expected you to. I was sure you'd still be cleaning the oven.
No, because I have already cleaned the kitchen. Why don't you clean the kitchen?
Well, then you'd have to say it with a slightly different pronunciation. I've already cleaned the kitchen.
Oh, you're stressing the cleaned in that sentence.
Yeah, and the already. Stop getting on at me. Don't nag.
I have been ironing for 1 hour.
How long have you been ironing?
I have been ironing for 1 hour, Em.
That sounds altogether too long.
Present perfect continuous, but I am enjoying a pretty decent podcast in the background while I'm getting on with this chore.
Oh, always makes it a pleasure, not a chore. Kind of.
I'd finished mopping before dinner.
This is getting harder. So what had you finished before your dinner?
Or what had you done?
Yes, what had you done before dinner?
I'd finished mopping before dinner, and then I moved on to wiping down the surfaces.
That's past perfect continuous. Good reason to use it.
I will water the plants later.
What? Oh.
What will you do later?
Yeah, but that's not a normal question. I wouldn't say it like that. What will you do later? In English, it would be, what are you going to do later? What's your plan? Will's not for plans.
Well, this could be spontaneous. What do you do after that?
Okay, yes. So we'd have to have a bit of a talk before this one question.
It's all springing to mind, Em. It's all improvised.
What unprepared, spontaneous things are you going to do later but not using going to, Gav?
I'll water the plants later, Em.
Okay, there we have it. Ta-da!
And finally, I will be cooking when you get home.
What will you be doing when I get home?
I will be cooking when you get home, if you're lucky.
Or will you be watching television when I get home?
That is more likely. Or I might be editing the podcast.
Yes, after you finish your chores, though.
Of course.
That was great. Very good elicitation. I also had elicitation written down, but didn't have a good enough demo, so I'm glad you took that one.
Well, I think that was a good activity. I hope that our fellow teachers and learners out there will get some inspiration from that activity.
I'm sure they will, Gav. Well, my first E...
Which is not M.
Is not M. No, it's actually E for eating. And you know last episode was D, Gav, we talked about donuts. We didn't talk about where you actually eat that donut. Do you take it into the lesson with you and scoff away as you are teaching, spraying your students with dusted sugar and jam particles?
If the said consumable was handed to me in the classroom, I might not say to the student, hold on, I'm going to go into the kitchen to eat it and I'll be back in 5 minutes with my sticky jammy fingers.
You wouldn't say, oh, thank you, that's lovely, I'll save that for later. Pat it on its little dusty head and put it in your bag.
I think that sounds like you're not going to eat it.
It does, doesn't it? But I have trouble even drinking in my lessons. I just don't get to drink. And you know how much I love tea, Gav?
I've heard that you love tea.
There's always a cold cup of tea sitting on my desk at the end of the lesson. Even though I make it fresh before I start and I sit down with every intention to drink it, it just doesn't get drunk.
You know what I like drinking, Em?
Coffee. No, we're not doing it yet. Let's let people just enjoy this. So, do you drink? Do you drink with a straw? I've seen teachers that do that, and honestly, it gives me the creeps a little bit when you're drinking a hot drink with a straw.
Does it not make a slurpy sound?
I think it must. I would definitely make a slurpy sound. But these are things to consider, because if you're tipping up a cup in front of your face with students face to face or on the screen, it's kind of comical, isn't it? That they can't see you, or that you might be chewing, or they ask you a question and you got your mouth full.
I would probably draw the line at eating something, but drinking I think is absolutely fine. I do get some shocked faces and some exclamations of, "Oh my goodness, that's the biggest cup of coffee I've seen in my life."
It's a talking point, I suppose, for the first time you do it. You say, "Look, my cup is as big as my head," isn't it? Then you could maybe talk about the cup and then have a nice conversation about the students. Have you got a favourite cup? Where did you get the cup? Why is it so great? Yeah, but as a general rule, I just don't eat. Definitely don't eat. Especially crunchy things that are very loud.
I definitely wouldn't eat any chewing gum or chew chewing gum in front of my students. I think it looks very unprofessional.
Yeah, and I've had it happen that I've almost choked on something where I've inhaled before speaking and the sweet or whatever has shot to the back of my throat and I've just exploded in the lesson.
That's very dangerous, Em.
And embarrassing.
Could get a lozenge lodged.
That's a tongue twister. Lozenge lodged in your throat.
Absolutely. Be careful, everybody.
You don't want that story, do you? I was the teacher who had to have the Heimlich manoeuvre done by one of my students. No, no, no. So be careful what you...
Chew. Slurp. Sip.
Devour. Yes. Your turn.
I think an obvious topic that we need to cover is equity in English language education.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
We need to focus on inclusive curriculum and culturally responsive teaching.
Definitely.
Integrating diverse perspectives and voices in teaching materials. Helping students to see themselves reflected in their studies, Em.
That is absolutely true, Gav. I always try to consider this when I'm making worksheets and make sure that a lot of different people are represented, visually and in the vocabulary. You need to make sure that the voices of all kinds of people are getting through.
Exactly. So we're fostering an inclusive learning environment. And Em, through personal development, we are equipping educators with strategies to engage diverse learners, which is vital within our industry, I think. The need for teachers to learn about students, their cultural practices, and promote equity within our classrooms.
Absolutely. Because, you know, the minute we stop focusing on it, the minute we stop thinking about it, the minute we don't pay attention to it, we will slip back to how it was before, and that wasn't a good thing.
Absolutely right. Therefore, ensuring all students have the opportunity to succeed in our learning spaces.
I'm with you on that, Gav.
I have another E that I would like to share with you, Em.
Oh, it's my turn, but okay. Yes, go ahead.
It's echo reading.
Ah, I've got echoing. You can have this one as well. Go on. What is echo reading, Gav?
Echo reading is a pronunciation practice where the teacher reads a sentence with expression and the student echo it back, mimicking pronunciation and intonation.
Uh-huh. So it's like echoing, but with a text.
However, I've decided to make it a little bit more interesting for us, Em. Let me describe the activity to you. I'm going to read to you a sentence, and I want you to say it back to me, so echo that sentence. But I want you to take one of these cards that has an expression of an emotion, it's an adjective, and then I would like you to echo the sentence back to me, but with that emotion. Is that clear?
Yes, it is clear. So I guess with some students, you could just literally ask them to repeat it, to echo it. But if you want that extra challenge, you could ask them to echo it with feeling. So are you guessing the emotion if I've got the cards in my hand?
That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to listen really carefully to the way you express this sentence, and then I will guess what the card is that you're holding. Are you ready to take the first card?
I'm ready. I hope I do a good job and it's clear enough for you.
Your first sentence is, wow, that was the best movie I've ever seen.
Wow, that was the best movie I've ever seen.
I did think you were tired, and then I thought you were slightly confused, but then you did seem very sad or melancholic.
Yes, it was sad. I think I had to turn on the tears at the end, didn't I?
You did, and when you turned on those tears, I got it.
So it might have been a tearjerker or a sad story, but it was so good.
Take the next card, Em.
Got it.
Your next sentence is, I don't think I'll ever forget that moment.
I don't think I'll ever forget that moment.
It sounds like me in my classroom.
Really? Oh, interesting. What was it?
I guess your emotion was... It was very fierce, so I think it was anger.
It was anger. You don't get angry, do you?
No, not really.
You're making that up.
That sounds like a very angry teacher recalling a devastating lesson, M.
Yeah, I was angry. I was very angry. I wasn't thinking about teaching. I was thinking about somebody stealing the last donut from the box.
M, stop talking about donuts.
Okay. Give me the next one. Taking my emotion card.
The next sentence is, I told you not to touch my phone.
I told you not to touch my phone.
Well, you sound very sad again.
No, I'm not sad.
Or a little bit cautious?
No, I told you not to touch my phone.
It helps that you're shaking, so I think you're nervous.
I'm nervous. That's a really hard one to express in a voice.
Yeah, maybe you were even scared at that moment.
Yeah, I think I got to that edge of fear, didn't I? Yeah. This is good, though, because I'm not really worried about remembering the sentence, but students, I think, would struggle a bit if you made the sentences quite hard as well. You'd have to get the sentence right and the emotion. I'm focusing more on the emotion right now.
They are very emotional sentences. Let's do another one, and the final one. Trust me, I've done this before.
Okay, the emotion I've got in my hand. Trust me, I've done this before.
I don't think I could trust you at this moment, Em, because that was really scary. Was it horror clown?
No.
It was confident?
No.
Well, you were laughing a lot, so was it funny?
That's not an emotion.
A funny emotion? Comical?
No, you're overthinking
humorous?
it. Just happy, Gav.
Oh, that's just happy.
I was just happy.
Oh, you were really happy at that moment.
I don't know how else to... How would you say it happily? Trust me, I've done this before. That still sounds scary, doesn't it?
That is really scary.
Okay. I think we're going to leave that one. Fun, though. Very good.
Echo reading.
Nice bit of pronunciation and intonation practice, which doesn't always get focused on in lessons, so really nice opportunity.
And I don't think we need to save that only for our high-level students. I think the lower-level students with that nice controlled activity could have loads of fun with that.
It doesn't have to be a sentence. It could just be one word, just to say a list of vegetables or household chores with an emotion.
I'm an angry tomato.
Exactly. Tomato! That's it. I'm a tired Brussels sprout. See? Yeah.
Em, it's your turn.
My word, Gav, is exposure. And I don't mean indecent exposure. I mean exposure to language.
That's very important. And what specifically are you focusing on here?
Well, that's what I'd like to know. How can our students get maximum exposure to English, in your opinion?
Sign up to a course.
Yeah.
Go online and search for stuff like videos, articles, whatever takes their fancy.
Yeah. Keep going.
Listen to a good podcast or 10.
Good. Download apps.
Listen to music.
Read books. Talk to people. Anywhere. Online. In the lessons.
In the canteen.
At the bus stop.
In a restaurant.
Yeah. Order things. use services, practice English, even in a chatbot situation, if there's a random website where you can ask questions to a chatbot, see how well the chatbot understands you.
There are some really good apps out there now, Em.
There are. Do you recommend holidays to learn or practice English? Do you know any students who have done courses for the summer or a couple of weeks somewhere as an intensive thing?
I have had a few students that have visited various places around the world and done some fun holiday courses in English.
And have you noticed their English has improved when they get back, when they come back to your lesson?
I have noticed they're a lot more confident, and they might even know a few new structures and have some nice accents too.
I think they are very effective, E for effective, ways to upgrade, boost and maybe level up even your English, because if you can spend 2 weeks, 6 hours per day speaking English, thinking in English. My students who've done these kind of courses always say they end up dreaming in English, they end up thinking in English. It's just an automatic thing in the end, and it's amazing. They say they go back to their home country and they are just speaking in English and they forget they need to speak their own language.
That's amazing. And if you can't do that, lock yourself in a room, listen to a lot of really good songs in English, read some stuff online, and just do what you can do to immerse yourself in English.
I don't think the locking in the room is mandatory, but yeah, you could go outside, sit down somewhere, you could go outside, you could be in a park and do it. You don't have to be at home in a dark room.
For 2 weeks with the lights off.
The lights off, yeah, exactly.
So maximum exposure is what we're suggesting here.
Yeah.
And also within your lesson, teachers, students, do as many different activities. Listen, read, write, speak as much as you can. Just fill every second of your language lessons and your time with English to get maximum exposure.
Yes. And if your teacher is talking too much, what should they do, Gav?
Find a new teacher.
Ooh, okay.
Well, no, just say, no, actually, I don't know what they can say.
Either.
You can't tell the teacher to be quiet.
As a student, it's very difficult.
Maybe after the lesson, just get some of the other students together and spend some time chatting and practicing your English together without the teacher. Create a little WhatsApp group.
Okay, sort of phase the teacher out a bit. I don't know, it's a hard one. I think if I was a student and my teacher was talking too much and I was just going to the lessons and it felt like a lecture, I think I would write some anonymous feedback or maybe send an email if I felt brave enough, just to say, I'm really enjoying your lessons. I think they're very useful, but I would like the opportunity to talk more. And I think if your teacher is worth their salt, they should understand, take a step back and think, oh yeah, maybe I need to stop talking a bit and let my students do more speaking.
That's a good message for teachers, Em. Let your students talk a lot more than you do.
And just be aware of how long you're talking for and reflect after the lesson how many minutes, if you were to tally it, how many minutes each of those students had to actually talk. If you were to put it all together, would it be less than 10 minutes? Less than 20 minutes? I think out of a 60-minute lesson, how many minutes would you want your students to be talking for, Gav?
59.
Right, well that may be overestimation on Gav's part, but I would say half of that, which is a lot.
It's not enough for me, Em.
Okay.
I want my students to be talking all the time, and I want them to say, Gav, just shut up. We've got things to say.
Well, you do need to error correct and step in sometimes, but okay.
And before we get to the tip of the week, I really must insist that I have a cup of coffee.
All right, go on then.
ko-fi.com/how-to-English-pod if you would like to send some refreshments our way.
Thank you very much.
You could even get a mention on the show if you like. Now, I have got a long list of words that start with E, and I wonder if you and the followers might like to guess them for me.
Oh, you're going to do more elicitation?
Well, why not? It's E for Elicitation Day.
Can we take turns? Because I've got some left that I'm not going to have time to talk about.
Of course.
Go on then.
My first word would be described as keen to learn, and you might want to put beaver behind it.
An eager beaver. Eager. Yeah, I've got that word too. We shared the E word there. I love eager students. I love eager beavers. They're great. My first E word, Gav, is 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, but 15 is too much.
Enough.
No. But 15 is too much, this E word, to arrive before a lesson.
Early.
Yeah. I'd say 5 or 10 minutes, perfect. But 15, you're pushing it. As students, I mean.
Okay.
I don't want you in my classroom that early. Sorry.
No, but it's a good tip for teachers to arrive 15 minutes early.
Okay, that's it. Teachers, 15 minutes.
You write your name, you write the date on the top of the board, and you're good to go.
Yeah, so students, 5 to 10 minutes. That's enough. That's fine. E for enough.
My next word is actively participating in lessons, and this may be the time just before you get married.
Engaged. Very good. Also, when the phone is busy, it's engaged. But you want engaged students. Eager beavers kind of go together with engaged students. This word means what you want out of life, what you want out of your lesson, what you want out of your teacher, what you want out of the course, what you want out of the company that gives you those lessons. It's the students'
expectations,
which on the other side is what you want, how much homework you want them to do. You need to make this very clear at the beginning. Everybody has expectations.
Great expectations.
Yes.
My next EM is slightly to the side of the park.
What does that mean?
And it refers to the understanding of different cultures and perspectives, and we can understand other people through these signals that we send. You might be able to read somebody's mind or body language.
Oh, ESP, but that's not connected to... Oh, when you were talking about ESP as in extrasensory perception.
Oh, no.
But you mean not English for a special purpose. You're talking about empathy.
Yeah.
To be able to understand other people's feelings. Very important.
You need to be empathetic as a teacher and possibly as a student too.
It does help. I agree. Definitely have a bit of empathy. My last one, Gav, is another way to say A1 and A2. Old school style. Watson, it is...
elementary.
Yes. Elementary.
Elementary English.
Well, the levels. We
Beginner.
haven't talked about beginners.
Elementary. Pre-intermediate. Intermediate. Upper intermediate. Advanced proficiency level.
Yes, so at the very beginning is elementary. Well, no, beginner is at the beginning. But anyway, that was my word.
I like that word. And my last word is willing to use new vocabulary and experiment with language in a loud and shouty way. You are...
I thought it was experimental, but in a loud and shouty way, you are...
We want to get ourselves across, Em. We need to pull our faces into interesting...
Expressive.
Expressive.
Expressive?
Be expressive.
Oh, in the language, not your face.
You could use your face while you're being also expressive.
You might want to do that for that game we played, but I don't know if I would encourage for E. E for encourage is not on my list, but that's a good word too. I don't know if I would encourage my students to make faces, but maybe if it helps them to show emotion, E for emotion.
But being expressive, tell people how you feel. You want to share all of your thoughts and feelings with the class. Don't just be a robot and say, I'm well, teacher. How are you?
Yeah, okay. If they want to. I think if your students want to do that.
It's an opportunity for you. Have
can't
fun.
Force them. You can't force them.
I don't want to force them, Em. I just want to say to them, feel free to be yourself. Share with us your thoughts and feelings, and hopefully we'll have a meaningful connection.
I still think you have to work at that without asking for it, but if that works for you, that's good. Gav, my tip of the week is exploit.
And we should not be exploiting our students, even if they make the best cakes and donuts and possibly coffee that you've ever tasted in your life.
I know, you think of exploit and exploitation as a bad word because, of course, nobody wants to be exploited. Teachers, you should definitely get paid for everything you do. Not that we do, because we do loads of admin, but anyway, it's not that kind of exploit. I'm talking about exploiting the task.
Exploiting materials?
That's right, exploit the book. Choose a book, Gav. Tell me any book that you are partial to using in your classes.
I still like to dabble with English file.
Tell me a level.
Intermediate.
Give me a page number.
57.
English file, intermediate, page 57. Tell me a number between 1 and 5.
4.
4. Okay, so you've gone to 4B, which is second conditional, which is titled In an Ideal World. It's the first page of that unit. And there is a questionnaire with an actress and model, Isabella Rossellini. Question number 4 is, what would you wear if you were invited on a date by someone you really liked?
I'm smiling and I am thinking to myself, I'd quite like to wear a tuxedo, to be honest.
Impressive. You would definitely make an impact. Going just on that one question, how would you exploit that, Gav, if that is all you had to work with? For some reason, your lesson plan got destroyed and you're left with one slip of paper with this one question on it. What would you do with that?
Only one lesson, or would you like me to prepare an entire course?
Just the one lesson, let's say 60 minutes. That's enough.
I love it. I would put it up on the board, and then I would draw lots of arrows coming outwards, lots of circles. And in those circles, I'd like the students to tell me the different places people might go on their first date with someone.
Okay.
We've got restaurant, we've got cafe, we've got park, cinema, ice rink, bowling alley. And then naturally, we're going to start thinking about, what would you wear to one of these places on your first date? What would be the best attire? What kind of clothes would you be comfortable in? Do you need those special slippery shoes if you're bowling?
Yep.
Ice skating, of course, you need to take your own ice skates, or maybe you could rent them. That would be even better.
But you'd end up with this amazing collection of vocabulary, all these different items of clothing. That's nice. You could go into the materials they're made of if you wanted to. You could talk about shops where you could buy these things.
If the students were more interested in etiquette, then I might say, is it appropriate to go to these places? How would you behave in this situation?
You could get into dress codes with that. You could talk about modals you have to wear, you can't wear, you should or shouldn't wear. You could talk about different formal, informal situations to do that as well. Out of one small sentence seed or acorn grows a mighty oak tree of an English lesson.
And we haven't even mentioned dating apps.
That's true. Matchmaking, all of that. It's loads of fun. You could set up Tinder accounts for everybody.
Or Grindr.
Yeah. Basically, it's infinite. Just one sentence. So don't panic, people out there who are new to English teaching. You can get so much out of so little.
And the students contain a wealth of knowledge that they are very happy to share with you if you just find the right key to unlock that padlock of nervousness. No. If you just find a way of eliciting from them.
Yeah.
That was a wonderful tip, and I really am quite grateful for you sharing it with us.
And thank you, English File. Always good.
You can rely on them.
Have you had E for enough, Gav?
Yes, that is E for everything.
Then I'll catch you next time.
Not if I catch you first.
Bye, Gav.